Hello. This video is going to preview our main text for the class, Demagoguery and Democracy. This book is available in the bookstore or through Amazon or a lot of bookstores around the country, so I hope you don't have any trouble getting your hands on it. If you do, it's all available through the Amazon store as a Kindle download. So if you have the Kindle app, you can read it. Of course, annotation will be more difficult that way, so you need to get your hands on a hard copy because we are going to refer back to it so often this semester, and it's really the structuring text of the course. Even though it is very small and thin, it's pretty dense with laying out Robert Miller's theory of demagoguery. And as some context for the book, what she's trying to do is contrast an unhelpful, vague definition or understanding of demagoguery, which is someone who uses fiery rhetoric, emotional, passionate appeals, emotional language, and stirs up the masses or the populace, and is seen as a populist, someone who appeals to the masses of people. That, she says, is not a helpful definition because demagogues work differently than that, and so she provides a more nuanced definition of demagoguery, more like a list of characteristics. But I want you to be on the lookout for the ways that she talks about how you can identify demagoguery. I'm also going to provide you with a list of terms to take note of, because these terms we're going to see again in her book about pro-slavery rhetoric, Fanatical Schemes, which is next on the reading list. Much thicker and harder to get through, but you'll see some of these same terms again with historical examples. So something about the book is that it just came out in June, and this is the fourth or so book that she's written. Patricia Roberts Miller happens to be my dissertation advisor, and so I heard a lot of these ideas since she was researching for this book 3 or 4 years ago, but really her career has been spent examining instances of demagoguery or authoritarian contexts when rhetoric goes bad. So she's published about Puritans rhetoric, the pro-slavery book, and she has done a lot of research into Nazi rhetoric. I don't know if she's published on that or not. She's also published a book about forms of the assumed models of democracy, or like a civic public sphere, and composition classes. So the book is tiny, and it's comes from a popular press. You will find some sources, a few footnotes, but not that many. It's not a scholarly text. It's written for a popular audience. She's published this version before she's published the scholarly version. And like I said, it came out in June. So it was not a direct response to any current or recent political events. It's been in the works for a long time, but I thought it was very timely and a really good book to be able to talk about political discourse in different periods. So I wanted to mention those, annotate the terms that you find helpful and the ones that I provide for you. Oh, she has one chapter that's a case study in demagoguery, and that is good at illustrating what she's talking about. It also is going to be a good model for you, because the ultimate aim of this class is for you to produce a researched argument paper in which you argue that some primary source has the characteristics, or sources, related sources, has the characteristics of demagoguery according to Robert Miller's theory. So the case study is about an argument for Japanese internment, and she notes importantly that this was not a a super emotional appeal, that it seemed very rational, it seemed supported by evidence, but that it was typical of demagoguery in that it wasn't fair and didn't allow for other forms of evidence to contradict the argument that Warren made. So the case study chapter is important for that reason, because you will be coming up with your own. You can draw it from history, from current events, or even from literature. I will supply more specific ideas for case studies that you can research and work on in the coming weeks. And taking examples from novels, I think, is definitely possible and might be fun. So I hope you enjoy this little book. It's very small, and we're only reading it for 1 week, but it will serve as a reference, especially when you read Fanatical Schemes, and you're going to write your first paper about how these two books interact, about how you can identify the same concepts in this little book, but in this one, which is very, very historical, and we won't be reading all of this, by the way. We'll be reading most of it, so you do need to buy it, and you'll be writing a paper about it. So I hope that overview helps you understand where this book fits in with the class. It's very central, and it will kind of structure and help you focus on your own research going forward in the class.